at practice. Everybody getting into the act.
Durant fires for three.
Got it! Got it! Here's Thompson for three.
Big shot by Steph Curry.
Free agency doesn't begin officially until July 1st, but according to multiple reports, LeBron James has opted out of the final year of his contract, so the madness can begin right now. By opting out, LeBron is now an unrestricted free agent. LeBron would have made $35.6 million during the upcoming season, but would now instead test the free agent market. And now the King has some options. Will he re-sign with the Cavs? Or perhaps he'll make his way to Los Angeles, where fans are thirsty to bring back glory, and maybe he'll help put together another super team. Or will he trust the process with the Sixers and their young nucleus led by Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons? Well, to break it all down for us, we welcome in NBA TV and TNT reporter David Aldridge. And DA, first of all, why did LeBron decide to opt out of his contract with Cleveland?
Well, Roz, it gives him flexibility. The only reason he would have opted in is if he wanted to, well, if he wanted to stay in Cleveland and not change anything, but nobody believes that, right? So you would opt in to help facilitate a trade with the Rockets, because the only way the Rockets can get him, being a team that's gotten essentially no cap room, they'd have to put a trade together to get him. So they'd have to trade players to Cleveland and to other teams, perhaps to be able to bring LeBron's salary in for next year. As you mentioned, it'd be more than $35 million. So by opting out, it kind of eliminates Houston realistically as a partner, unless LeBron's about to shock us all and sign for the minimum as a veteran contract there. So it's much more likely now that he goes to a team that has cap space and that can sign him. And the two teams you mentioned will have that kind of cap space. The Lakers have enough room to sign 2 max players. Philly can sign 1 max player. They both would like that player to be LeBron, and so the battle begins. And it still is, you know, LA's fight to not only get LeBron, but to add another player, whether that's Kawhi Leonard or Paul George, is what they're working on.
Now, you talk about the Lakers and the 76ers, but how likely do you realistically think it would be that maybe LeBron decides to stay in Cleveland still?
He could. I mean, it's possible. He has, you know, any number of different options that he could do with the Cavaliers. I think it's the reason why I think it's less likely is because he could have just, again, opted in, stayed there, signed a new deal next summer that would pay him more, you know, early in the contract than any place else. So he's given up money by doing that if he wants to stay in Cleveland. So it's not that there's no chance he could do it. He could sign, you know, he could certainly sign a new deal to stay in Cleveland. But he'd be doing it for less money than he could have gotten by just sticking with the old contract that he was under.
You talk about money too, but are there other motivations that LeBron has in mind? What's the priority for him as he chooses his next team?
Well, look, I take LeBron at his word. He's said consistently that he wants to go to a team that has a chance to win championships. And we all know that in the East, he's been able to get through no matter what team he's been on for the last 8 years. He's been able to get to the finals. It doesn't matter if it's a great team, a middling team, a poor team. He's been able to take them to the finals. So the question is, can he beat Golden State when he gets there? Can he beat Houston when he gets there? And so I think that's where you have to look at. And so if he goes to LA, I have to think he's going with somebody else, because LeBron, even though those kids have a lot of talent, and I think Kuzma's got some talent and Ingram's got some talent and Lonzo Ball's got some talent, I don't think anybody would say they were going to beat Golden State in the conference finals, even with LeBron. So he has to go there with at least one more superstar level player. And so if he builds that, that's the model out there. If he goes to Philly, well, you've got Embiid, you've got Simmons, you've got a team that's ready to really make the next step, and a team, Roz, that has to keep up with Boston. We all know how good Boston is and how good they're going to be next year with Hayward back and with Irving back.
All right, thanks, DA. Appreciate it. Good to see you, and we'll see you later on in the show, too.
Absolutely.